What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Grand Rising, Lineage, Wagwan. What the deal is? This is your brother Chief Kalinago, man. What's going on? I hope everybody's doing good. Let me make sure we got some audio here on Facebook, man. This is your brother Chief Kalinago, man. What's going on? Hope everybody's doing good. Yeah, we got some audio. We got some audio. We got some audio. All right. So check this out, right? I'm here, just working on the book because I'm going to Jamaica on the 30th. I'm going to Jamaica, on the 30th of this month, which is I think actually Sunday. And so I'm just here working on the book, doing some work because, like I said, when I go to Jamaica, I want to really, I want to finish up this book and then come back and take the next 2 weeks to, do the editing and then go into production. You know what I mean? So I could move on and work on other things, right? But me, I'm always in great spirits. You know what I'm saying? I'm always vibing high. And I'll tell you one thing again, whenever you are vibing high, whenever you're on the high frequency, there's always energies that always come. You see what I mean? To throw you off your course or throw you off balance. But when you are in control, you feel me? Then you don't have to worry about it because what does control means? Control means like, you have right? Con mean to oppose and you have trolls, right? So I oppose the trolls. You see, that's why I'm in control. I tell people I'm a wordsmith. You feel me? So con, let us go look at the etymology or the breakdown of the word con because I'm gonna explain things for y'all. I'm such on another level with these words and these spells that people don't even comprehend where I'm at right now. But give me a second. Let me show y'all something. Okay, let us look at con. Con definition. Right? Con. All right. Look, let me just explain something to y'all for all the haters, man. Let me just show y'all how high I'm vibing. Because these things they come automatically to me. You feel me? You just tell me a word and I could tell you what the frequency is. That's how good I am with this. So anyway, let us go. So we have the word con, right? Con. We have con. Let this thing populate here real quick. Let it populate, right? So con, what does con means? It means to swindle, defraud, cheat, all right? Persuade someone to do something or believe something, typically by use of deception, a dupe, all right, to deceive. That's the same thing that Jacob did to his brother Esau. But anyway, that's not what this is about. I'm talking about something else right now. So con. So what is a troll? All right, a troll is someone in slang that comes and basically what I call somebody who loves to bring chaos, a provocateur. All right. So control, yes, I'm always in control, meaning that, you know, the trolls, I know how to defraud them. I know how to deceive them. How? You see what I'm saying? By not feeding into their negative energy. And that's what control means. You see what I'm saying? So I'm saying all that to say, like I said, I'm here working on the book, and somebody tagged me with a post on Facebook, right, from a group. So I'm gonna share it with you because, like I said, man, you know, I'm about this life. Check this out, right? Now, the brother who shared it with me, Willie Macmillan, um, I'm not gonna say he shared it. He tagged me in the post, to troll me or to from a negative aspect. Maybe he just did it to show me what people are saying. So I don't know his intentions. You see what I'm saying? So I'm not going to assume that he's part of this trolling or this hate. I'm not going to assume that. So brother Willie McNeilan, okay, whatever your intentions were, if you did it to, kind of show me, what people are saying, I appreciate it. And just so you know, I really don't care. It doesn't matter to me because people don't define who I am. You feel what I'm saying? I already know who I am, but I'm going to show you the hate, right? Let me show you the hate. Now, I'm sharing this screen real quick. So I got tagged in this post just a little while ago. I'm in my zone. I got up. I've been up since like about 6:30. Got up, I did my devotions, I mean, I did, some push-ups, I did some sit-ups, whatever the case is. And I was like, okay, you know what? Let me just dive into this book. I'm breaking things down. More clarification is coming, more downloads is coming. And I'm tightening up the book. So boom, I got a notification from Facebook, and this is the notification right here. Okay, it's coming from this group. So like I said, this brother Willie McNeilon tagged me in that post. Okay, and this is the post right here. So they're trolling me. Okay, this individual, Mayagna Chantel, created the post, right? And they have my clothing line, which is my Niji, and it says I'm not black. I'm not black. I'm American Indian. So they put in all these people. Supposedly, they assume that's African, and remember I had my mohawk, right? So they put in Afro, again, making fun, ridiculing, whatever the case is. But like I said, that stuff doesn't bother me. All right. It actually made me laugh. They made me smile. You feel me? Because, let me tell you something. Whenever you cast your pearls to swines, you become a swine. So I leave these pigs alone. They are pigs. They're beneath me. You see what I'm saying? I'm royalty. My bloodline is royalty. I can't even worry about that. But I'm just showing you the hate that's in this world, and from people, especially some people that may look like you. That's why I keep telling people every skin folk is not kinfolk, and y'all might not get what I'm saying. You dig what I'm saying? Now, let me click first on this Mayagna, whoever that is, right? Let us click on that. That's the person I think that supposedly post that, right? And that's what they post on here. Now, that's defamation. You see what I'm saying? Now, I could take it to a legal level, you know what I mean? But I don't have to do that. You dig? Because to me, it's I'm not gonna waste my energy on that. Okay, let me see if I could click on this person profile and see who they are. Now, they have the group which call, basically it's a group from let me see if I could pull up some pictures of that individual. I'm not seeing pictures of that individual, but anyway, the group is called Global Aborigines, right? Global Aborigines. Now, global means worldwide, right? So even if you thought I was African, right? Doesn't that mean I'm still an Aborigines? I'm still an Aborigine. You see, people are just so ignorant. You dig? And because they have so much hate in their heart, it's really crazy, right? So it's a group called Global Aborigines. Now, let me show you a couple of people that's in the group. For instance, one of the people who made a comment. Let me see if I could find that and show you something. Give me 1 second. I'm trying to find this. Where is it at? Okay. Let me see. All right. So we have this dude right here, right? Nacho Taizan, whatever the case is. And it's funny, right? I was born in the islands, right? And I know a lot of my ancestors go back to, South America. Some of them, the majority of them, is North America, because Dominica is in North America, but a lot of them from South America as well, and, you know, a lot come back, like I said, into the United States. But look at this, right? It's funny that a lot of people, you know, want to claim, Egypt, want to claim the Mayans, want to do all that, right? But y'all keep forgetting that the majority of the Mayan culture, Peruvian, the majority of Egypt is actually in South America. Yes, it extended to a lot of North America, but all that's part of the same civilization. When we talk about Upper and Lower Egypt, we are talking about both Egypts in America. They just took that civilization to Africa and created Kemet. You see what I'm saying? So let me just show you the people that's in this group, that people who look like me are actually accepting the fact that they are Aborigines, but they hating on me. And that's how you know it's hate, because look at that. This dude is in the group, right? This dude right here is in the group, but he's considered to be an Aborigine. Look at this dude. All right, this dude right here. He's in the group and he's considered to be an Aborigine. Okay? A Spaniard. Okay? That his ancestors is pretty much Siberian, um, European Spanish, Mediterranean. Those are a mixed mongrel group. Okay, they're mongrels. You did, but he's in the group, and he's considered to be an Aboriginal. You feel me? He's one of them. So to me, it's just it's absolutely crazy that people that look like me or look like us, like I said, they are promoting this. Now here's another one that's up there, laughing, LOL, WFE. Look at this. This one is in the group, and he's considered what? An Aborigine. This, this fat looking dope. You see what I'm saying? Like, so it's amazing. It's just crazy to me, man. It's crazy to me. It really is. This dude is an Aborigine. He's in the group. And nobody who looks like me, they're not coming at him and telling him nothing. So that's how I know it's hate. Look at this. This is an Aborigine. This dude is not an Aboriginal. Okay, that's a native. There's a difference. Okay, there's a difference. But my people perish for the lack of knowledge. And that's the problem. You see what I'm saying? So I just want to come in here and show y'all this, this type of things that I deal with. But yet still, I keep my head high. All right? I move on. You did. Oh, no, my brother, don't apologize, man. No, it's cool, brother. Don't apologize. You see, the world is going to know about me. And because guess what? Spiritually, universally, I'm already known. You feel me? Because of the damage I'm going to do to the system. So don't apologize, bro. Don't apologize. It's all good. You see what I'm saying? Because the stone that the builders refuse is the same one that's going to be the cornerstone. Like I tell people, they don't know who I am. And when I'm done with this book, I'm going to show y'all who I am, because I'm going to continue to make the moves I used to make in 2017, in 2012, 2011. Because like I said, when I was teaching this, everybody out here, including all the popular ones on YouTube, okay, who's now kicking it, they were still calling themselves Black and African American. Okay? I was one of the first ones teaching our people we were Americans, because I was sent here for this. So my brother Brian, trust me, no need to apologize, brother. I'm glad you put it there, because you know what? Your haters make you popular. Your haters make you famous. And I'm not looking for fame. That's not what I'm looking for. All right. But I'm going to come down with the brick on them when I'm done with this book, putting this truth out. You feel me? Because all these natives, all of them, they're going down, because guess what? I know exactly where they came from. I know exactly when they came. I know exactly what happened to put them where they're at today. I know all of it, and I'm going to expose it. And people could do what they want with the information, but trust me, man, I'm going to peel this like an orange. And trust me, it's an orange without seed, because it's GMO. It's not organic. I'm going to expose the GMO. I'm going to expose the fraud. I'm going to expose all of it. Okay? So I'm just showing y'all this. You dig? Because like I said, man, this here is just funny to me. It's really amazing. Okay? It's funny. It's really funny. Okay? So, they have their little group. Y'all posting, check this out, right? This is the face of America, right? Look at this dude. You go into the Olmecs and put the face of America, and a dude that look even that I would consider, and again, I'm not judging, a dude who may look African, you saying that he's America. You see what I'm saying? So like I said, the hate is so real. It's not even funny, man. It's not even funny. All right. But I wish them all the best, though. I wish them all the best, because, I'm good. All right. I'm good. I'm absolutely good. Yep. I'm absolutely good, man. So I'm just showing y'all, man, all these frauds, man. All these frauds. Okay. But like I said, though, I'm coming. Y'all better recognize I'm coming with the heat, and I'm going to expose all of y'all, because y'all can't come and claim South America, you know what I'm saying, and call yourself Aborigines. And my bloodline is more tied to South America than y'all. You feel me? So stop the cap. Okay. Stop the nonsense. You feel me? Stop it. But y'all going to learn, though. Y'all going to learn. So I'm saying all that to say, man, it doesn't matter what you're going through in life. When you're on the right path, okay, people will continue to come at you. People will continue to try to put you down. That's what they will do. All right. They will try to, prevent your light from shining. But that's what they can't do to. They can't do that to me, because it doesn't matter where I go, my light will always shine. Okay. Always shine. Wherever I go, I'm welcome because my ancestors are always with me. Okay. They're always with me. You dig? So I just want to come, and share, just share some of the nonsense that's going on in this world, especially here in the Americas. And y'all trying to rise up from, from your enslavement. You can't rise up from your enslavement by trying to put down one of the chosen ones, bro. Y'all can't do that. Okay, you're fighting against spiritual powers that's with me. And trust me, I'm highly favored, man. You come against me, you're coming against a whole army of ancestors. Y'all don't understand that. Like I told y'all before, go ask the ones that came against me before and see where they're at today. Okay? See where they're at today. Now, y'all calling these Asians Arawak. They are not the Arawaks. They are not the original Arawaks. Okay? Those people are mixed East Indians. They are not the Arawaks. Okay? But they got y'all tricked to thinking that they are the Arawaks. They are not. Just like how these people out here are not the natives. Go ask yourself a question. When you look at television, right, and you go into all the history books, what did the so-called Native American look like? What the perception that they gave you of these Native Americans? What did they look like? They had a darker hue. They had these chinky eyes, high cheekbones. That was the perception or image they were giving you of Native Americans. Now ask yourself this question. Why don't they look like the same people that you see today? Why do people that you see today, they look more Caucasian? Why is that? Because over time, the native had to change. It went from the Negroes, and I'm using that word Negro very lightly, the Negroes or the Negroid type, okay, all over the world until the inception of the Pale Race, until the inception of the Asians, until the inception of the East Indians, and I'm talking about the Six Ether East Indians, okay, and what you have today. So in the late 1700s, early 1800s, they brought in these East Indians. They brought in these East Indians to start replacing the Negroes. I'm going to give you an example. Seneca Village. Seneca Village was founded, they say founded by free African slaves. Now ask yourself this question. You see, I tell people, I'm a man of wisdom. I use intelligence and logic. Okay, that's where wisdom comes in. And I'm a wise man. Ask yourself this question. How is that? Right on the cusp of slavery or towards the mid or the ending of slavery, you had so-called Negroes owning prime land, owning prime location, I'm talking about prime location in Manhattan, Wall Street, Central Park. Why you had these people owning these lands and talking about it was founded in the 18 something? What do founded means? Just like how so you're trying to tell me that, yes, George Washington and the likes, they founded America? They founded the United States? No. The United States was given to them. You feel me? It was first given to the 13 colonies, the 13 bloodline families, which are the 13 colonies. Each one of the head families, they got a colony. Okay? And it was given to them by the Iroquois Confederacy. So they gave them the Constitution. They gave it to them as a gift. And I'm breaking all that down in my book, why it had to happen. And from the 13 colonies, like I said, each bloodline family had to get a colony. The colony of Georgia still belongs to one of the bloodline families, George the Third. But it goes back to all the judges from Germany. That's one of the families. All the states, York, okay, all the states, Virginia, King James, all the states were given to one of the 13 bloodline colonies. All right. But because they were fighting with their masters, their kings and queens in Britain, in Great Britain, which were people of color, they wanted to separate themselves. You did. So now it came into the United States. And then the 13 colonies ratified the Constitution that was given to them, okay, by the Articles of Confederation, and then they created the United States. You feel me? So I keep telling y'all, I'm a man that's well studied. I know this thing like my ABC. I could break everything down to you from Europe to the Americas to how the United States was created, white was created, and white was given to the pale man. I could break all that down like a book. I could tell this like a story, like a bedtime story. I could sit around a bonfire and tell you all the stories. And I'm giving you facts. And I know exactly how and when these so-called natives came here. You feel me? That whole story about, 10, 12 million slaves came from Africa, that's a lie. That's a lie. Exaggerated lie. These people did not come from Africa. It wasn't no millions of millions of millions. No more than 700,000 Africans came here in total. And I'm talking about all over the Americas. And guess what? More than half of them came straight from Europe because they were already in Europe. And I have the proof of that. So y'all can't talk to me, man. Can't talk to me. So these people that you are seeing, they are a culmination of a mongrel race. They are not even organic beings. They are a mongrel race. All right? A little more than 6 ether because they have more of our melanin in them. So they're around between 6.5 to 7 ether. We are the 9 ether beings. No matter how y'all look at it, I'm going to shut y'all down with the knowledge, man, because I got this. So I'm able to walk the ledge. That's what knowledge is. Walking the ledge. You know how to walk the ledge and not fall. You feel me? And I could walk the very thin line of the ledge because guess what? I got the knowledge and not fall off the ledge. That's why I don't do belief systems. I'm a Dan Dada when it comes to this knowledge. Okay? So you look at this right here. This mongrel is not an aborigine. No, they are mixed breed people. All right? They're hybrid people that was created. They are shadow people that were created to take the place of the 9 ether beings. Like I told y'all before, take a 9, flip it over. What do you get? A 6. Don't play with me, man. These people are not the original Arawaks and Caribs and people of certain parts of North America. Even here, they look those looking like the natives up here. Those were the earlier versions of the natives, but now they changed to pale skinned people, which I'm talking about so-called Caucasians and so-called white people, $5 Indians. But those people were put in place from East in there. So what they did was they literally trade places in terms of Indians. They took the East Indians, put them in the West, and took a lot of the West and put them in the East as well. You see, y'all don't know what's going on. So we have these people making fun and, making fun of the real Aborigines. And we have all people that look like us, or like me rather, co-signing that. But yet still, they could call these people Aborigines, but they're hating on me. You see what I'm saying? So that's how I know it's hate, man. That's how I know it's hate. You dig? It's hate. But like I said, I'm not stressing it. I'm just showing y'all the mindset of these people. Okay? The mindset of these people. And then we have our people co-signing that because they are still part of the same group. And they will not say, hey, you know what? That's my brother, man. This man been doing this way before me, way before all the major ones that's here, doing their thing. He was one of the first ones, if not the first. Because like I said, when I started, nobody was talking about that. Nobody. Now, I'm not saying they didn't know, but all I'm just saying is there was nowhere on YouTube doing it. Because it was like, literally, it seemed like I was speaking Dutch when I was telling people this. You feel me? So it's funny. And I don't have anything against 6 ether beings or 7 ether beings. I tell people my enemy is people who are unrighteous. I displease people who are unrighteous. Because when it's all said and done, a 9 is a 6 and a 6 is a 9 based on, based on the frequency, because the 6 had to turn to a 9 in order to, the 9 had to turn into a 6 in order to create the 6. You feel me? And that's just what it is. A 6 is just a degenerated 9. A 6 is just a hybrid 9. You feel me? So I'm the original, no matter what you talk about, no matter where you think I'm from. Okay? And like I said, man, this is just crazy, but it's all coming to light. They are threatened, that their reign is at nigh. Okay, it's an end of their reign, because we give y'all power, not we. Okay, when I say we, I'm talking about the 9 ether beings give the 6 ether beings and the 7 ether beings power, and the 8th ether beings power, okay, to rule for a certain period of time. And that time is up. It's up. You know what I'm saying? So regardless of what y'all say, this is my rise and it's your fall. You feel me? So it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful thing. People don't realize, man, 1492 was a portal. I keep explaining that to y'all. 1492 was an illusion that they gave you. It wasn't actually 1492. Okay? It was 1492 Gregorian calendar. But when you step outside of time, it wasn't 1492. So spiritually, we lost 28,000 years. So that's how long our people have been in the sleep, for 28,000 spiritual years. You dig? So it was longer than 1492. It was longer than, 1619. And I already broke that down to y'all. They were creating new beings. It was a portal for 1492. When you add 1492 in numerology, you get 7. And I already broke that down. You get 7. 1 and 4 is 5. 5 and 9 is 5 and 9 is 14. Plus 2 is 16. 1 and 6 is 7. 1492. And they did it again in 1924 when they created another hybrid race, but they created it on paper when they made all the American Aborigines citizens of the United States. Like I said, man, I know this, this is something that I was gifted with. Okay? This is something that I was gifted with. I even broke down Jesus and Lucifer in numerology for y'all. They're the same entity. They all add up to the same number, 74. 7 and 4 is 11. When you see 11, 11, what does that mean? Okay, yes, it's a high frequency number, but it's duality. That's Lucifer and Satan on the same frequency, 11, 11. I mean, Lucifer and Jesus on the same frequency, 11, 11. You see, like I said, man, I could spit this like a rhyme, like I'm in the booth. You see, when my ancestors gave me the name Flying Eagle, that's what they did. They took me to a whole different level. I'm flying high. I could fly into the sun and not be bothered by that. So supreme health, wealth, it's all good, man. It's all good. All right. Let them continue to hate on us. It's fine. And, it's going to be, like I told y'all before, a people that look like us. You know why? Because so it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. You have to realize, when I keep telling people every kinfolk, that's what I'm talking about, because they came from a bloodline. A lot of them came from the disagreeables. A lot of them came from a bloodline of people who look just like us. We don't realize that. Okay, the agreeable race, meaning that the immovable race was on earth here for millions of years before the fallen angels came, and the fallen angels were also people who look just like us. People don't get that. So when you keep calling people the devil and Satan, oh, well, the white man is the devil, let me ask you a question. Who created the white man? If he came from your stomach, then what does that make you? The creator of the devil? And take yourself away from the devil? You can't do that. You can't do that. Okay? The pale man is not the devil. The original devil is people of color. Okay? But they gave birth to their children. Some of them became devils. So it has nothing to do with the color of skin. It's about a frequency. Because like I said before, you have 6 ether beings, all right, who are righteous people. All right. And I would rather live among them than live around people who live like who actually look like me. And I know that they are the original devils. Because I've had the experience with people who look like me, but they're not me. Okay. So what y'all don't realize is, like I told y'all before, Noah was the 6th race, the 6th race that was created, the 6th Adam. Noah was the 6th Adam. Before that, you had 5 Adams before Noah. Okay. All Adam means, it signifies, is man, a different type of man every time from the original that was created from the blueprint of the original. So the first one was not necessarily called Adam. He was called either Adamu or Adam Kadmon. They had different names for the ones that came before, the variations or the different hybrids of Adams. Okay, but Noah was the 6th Adamite, where the 6 ether beings had to be created. You feel me? And then the 7th Adam is going to be created in the Americas. And it ain't got nothing to do with the color of skin. It's going to be a spiritual Adam. In other words, the spiritual man is going to come back into whole again, because so as it was in the beginning, so shall it be in the end. So you had the first spiritual Adam, that celestial Adam. It wasn't about flesh. It was about a mindset. Okay? It was righteousness. And then they manifested here on earth. And they were on earth for millions of years in a garden. The entire earth was a garden. Okay? Where they did not have to till the ground. They had everything in abundance. They had dominion over things. All right. And then they had to deteriorate into the different level of Adams. And by the time they got to the Adam of Genesis, that was when a new covenant was created. A new one was created, a worker, one who had to till the ground. That, like I told y'all before, that was the first foundation or creation of commerce. Okay. Employee and employer. The Lord God was the employer. Adam and Eve was the employee. That was a trust that was set up. You feel me? Duality was created, or not necessarily created, but duality. They made duality something that was conscious, so that they know the difference between good and evil. All right, good and evil basically means credit and debtor. A credit and a debtor, it's all accounting. So that's why sin is called debt. That's why they tell you everybody's born in sin, because why? Everybody was born in debt. You see, like I tell you, I don't play with me, man. I'm like, I don't even know. I got the mind of God. Y'all don't understand that. And I'm using that word God very lightly. Very, very lightly. So now this new form of accountant, or this new form of man, okay, he was given to rule for 6,000 years. In fact, actually 7. But between the 6th and the 7,000 years, there had to be what would I put it? A new covenant. All right, where the man that was in the beginning, the perfect man, at the end of the 7th cycle, okay, then he would make himself known again. So that's why we are going through the purging right now, because why? The perfect man have to be formed like it was in the beginning. And we are going to go back to where there is no tilling the ground, where we'll have dominion again, where we'll be able to just live together, as one, wholesomely with nature. We are getting back to that again. Okay. So all the governments of the world got to fall. All the religions got to fall. All that got to go, because they're all illusions. They're all illusions. Do you really think there's a government right now? No, they are dormant. They are insolvent. It's just an illusion they're giving you on CNN and all these news stations. Okay? Because the transition is being made. But people are just too blind to see that. It started in the Americas, so it has to end. And when I'm saying end, not necessarily a literal end. I'm talking about the end of the hybrid races. Okay? The end of the illusion. It has to end in the Americas, because it started in the Americas. All the stories they are telling, it's just an allegory, symbolic to tell you what was happening in the Americas. All they did was they just changed the National Geographic. The locations, that's all they did. They changed the locations. And of course, created some names. They gave it personifications. All right. But it started in the Americas. That's where it started. And then from the race, the nine ether race that came, the agreeables that came into the Americas, once it was time for the disagreeables to fall, okay, when they fell, we kicked them out of the Americas. And when we kicked them out of the Americas, that's when they went to Asia. And it was in Asia, all right, there mankind was created. Okay, while man was still living in the Americas, you see. So like I said, man, y'all cannot test me. I came from that stock of the righteous, of the immovable race. You feel me? From the agreeable ones. I came straight from the gods, man. See, y'all don't get this. To all the haters, y'all don't get it. So the Asiatic black man is not like what the Moors think they are, because the original Asiatic black man, it was a nine ether being with long stringy hair, because he was set up to create the six ether races. You did. So we go back to East, to East India, specifically India or Asia. I mean Asia Minor. Minor means less, a takeaway. All right, because they're talking about genetically right now. That's why it was called India Minor, because that's where the hybrid race was created. Okay, and then those people moved down into Africa. Okay, not even humankind was created in Africa, but at that time, even Ethiopia was part of Asia. And the original name for Ethiopia, well, one of the original names for Ethiopia was not Ethiopia, it was called Abyssinia before it was even called Ethiopia. Ethiopia was the created state, but it was Abyssinia. I'm certainly sure they had different names before that, but I'm giving you more recent, ancient, so to speak, history. Okay, so at some point, Abyssinia and certain parts of Asia, they had the same culture, they had the same gods, they had the same religion. It was only later people started moving into what you now call Africa. Even a lot of them came from the Americas. Okay, even Nigeria is a corporation. Nigeria is not the original name. It's a corporation owned and it has a patent. Okay, it's like calling yourself a United States citizen. It's a corporation. People don't get these things. And mankind had to continue. They had to continue, like even in the Bible, there's literally 3 versions of the creations. Okay, there's actually 2 in Genesis, and I think there's 1 in Job, but it kind of shifts into the book of Psalms as well, or I think Isaiah, where it tells you about where the Lord God, where he made his people, okay, or the ones that he looked out for, they came from, I think, the Pleiades or Orion or something like that. It's actually in Job. It tells you about that. When he was telling Job, well, I'm the one who created this, I'm the one who created that, but people don't know what this book is about. He was talking about his hybrid races that he created. That's what he was talking about in Job, telling Job. Okay? And that's what Job means, Job. How do you tell me that Job is actually Job when it's Job? It's the same thing. It's interchangeable. So when Job basically means suffering, that's it. That's what Job means. Job is the same thing. You have to be continuously being tested to see if you could take the job. They're going to break you on the job. They're going to underpay you on the job. They're going to tell you when to clock in, when to clock out, when to take lunch, when not to take lunch, when you could take a vacation. That is Job. That is Job. You being tested by the Lord. Who's the Lord? The employer. And who's the employer in the Bible? The Lord God. So who's your boss? Your God, your Lord. You see, y'all don't get this, man. Now, don't get me wrong. They put us in a position where we have to be Job. I get it. So I'm not clowning you or I'm not downing you for having a job, because you got to take care of your family, but you got to raise your vibrations. You got to raise your frequency and get away from that mentality. Because it was only when Job raised his frequency, the Lord said, okay, you know what? Boom, let me give you back everything tenfold. So now he had things in abundance, but he had to raise his frequency, raise his vibration, because we are not supposed to be working. Okay, work wasn't meant for the 9 ether beings. It wasn't even meant for the 6 ether beings. The 6 ether beings were created for a whole different, a whole different purpose. All right. It was not like they told you in the book or the Anunnaki. No, I got that straight from the minds of the gods. And I know the reason why. But because, once again, the Lord God wanted to do his own thing, so he made them slaves, but they were not supposed to be slaves. It was for a whole different experience. Okay? So anybody you make a slave, comprehend this. The lower chakra is always in a survival mode. So anybody you make a slave, meaning that you have them vibrating in their lower chakras, at some point, they're going to revolt. Okay, at some point they're gonna want to control. And that's what happened, because the Lord God went outside of the order to enslave people, make them slaves, make them workers. Hence the rise of the 6 ether beings. So because that happened, the karma had to be, now that you enslave the lower self, I'm going to show you the lower self could enslave you. Man, I don't know if people ready for all this, man. Maybe I'm giving y'all too much. You feel me? But I know some of y'all are actually ready for this. Y'all ready for this work, because I'm going to give y'all the work. You did. So I'm not bothered, by these people, man. I'm not, because I'm already, my seat is already next to my ancestors on high. Even when I laid down last night, they were giving me so much information. Like, it's like, I'm like asking myself, how does it happen? How does it just come like that? But I know why, because I put in that spiritual work. I made the sacrifices. Okay, I did. I followed their voices. I followed their advice. I did what they tell me to do. Okay, so I'm walking in the light, and that's all that matters, man. That's all that matters. You feel me? So for any of y'all that's going to experience that, don't worry about it. Okay, just stay focused, stay positive, keep being righteous. One thing you have to realize is this, like I'll keep reiterating this. Okay, everyone has their own karma. Everyone has their own karma. They don't comprehend that. We have a saying in the islands, right? And which is basically saying the same thing. Do unto others as you would have them do unto you. But in the islands, our elders would always tell us, if you dig one hole for somebody, or if you dig a grave for somebody, make sure you dig 2 graves, because the person you plan to kill, somebody else is going to plan to kill you. So if you're going to dig one hole, dig 2 holes, one for you, one for them. Basically reiterating that, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. Whatever you sow, that's what you're going to reap. You did. So all these people, man, you know what I mean? All these people, they got theirs coming for them. All right? And they will be the ones that's going to be at my feet. If not in this physical realm, it's going to be in another realm. This is the same man that you was ridiculing. That was the same man that you was putting down. All right? So now you bow to him because he's your God. He's your Lord. Watch. So every knee shall bow and every tongue will confess. I'm telling you. All right? Because that's what the evil wants. That's what they have to face. The backbiters. Okay? The hypocrites. They have to face that judgment. And when they get to that point, they're going to be amazed, because they're going to realize it's their true self judging their illusionary self. And is their true self that's going to put the illusionary self in jail. And when I said in jail, I'm talking about that torment. And you have to do it of your own will, because you got free will. But because of the way it's set up, you don't have a choice but do it. So you will heaven and you will hell. It is really that simple. Okay, you are responsible for that. So I keep telling y'all, be careful. Okay, be careful what y'all do to people. Be careful how you live your life. Okay, be careful how you live your life, man. And that's a lesson that's hard. That people have to learn the hard way sometimes. It's like a child. You'll tell a child, hey, you know what? Don't touch the stove. It's hot. It's going to burn you. But they have to keep making the attempt to touch until they get burned. And that's the same thing that's going to happen to a lot of these people. Okay? They sit around just to be evil, conspire evil, hate, animosity, jealousy. All right? And jealousy brings envy, but yet still your Lord God is a jealous God. How is that even possible? That's a human trait, but people don't even see that. Oh, well, it's God. He could be jealous. Oh, really? Okay, I hear you. This world is so gone, man. But you know what? People are finding themselves more and more. I'm starting to see the good in people. More and more, I'm starting to see people waking up from the dead. So now they become the living. And I always tell people, let the dead bury the dead. It's really that simple, man. Okay. So I'm not on here to chase popularity. I'm not on here to chase likes. I'm not on here to chase love. I'm here to give love. I'm not here to give likes. I'm here to give love. And the love that I give, it don't necessarily have to come from the ones that I give love. Now, I'm not as cool because my love comes with abundance. It comes from the higher realms. It comes from the higher realms. And if you are spiritually favored, okay, then guess what? It doesn't matter what happens in the flesh. Nothing could come against you. Nothing. Nothing. So just continue to watch my light shine, man, for all you haters. Continue to let it shine, because there's going to come a time when you won't even be able to look at my face because my light is too bright. It's going to blind you. All right. So I just wanted to come on here, like I said, man, and kind of share that with y'all, because like I said, I'm here working on the book, and I just got the notification, and I'm like, okay, let me just check it out, and it's like, hey, you know what? Let me do a video about this, because I'm certainly sure a lot of you probably have already experienced it, from people who don't look like you and from people who look like you. Okay. So it's really a bloodline thing, a bloodline thing physically, and a bloodline thing, meaning that the light, okay, the photosynthesis, the photon, all right, a spiritual thing. What do I mean by that is you had two different bloodlines that came to this earth. The first one that came were the agreeables. The first one that came were the righteous people. And those were the ones that were in the Americas, the first beings to actually come on earth. They landed in what's called America. All right. That is the bloodline of righteousness. And then, the evil ones fell. Same complexion, same color, same ether beings, but they were just the opposite, like a battery. You have positive, you have negative. The positive fell first before there was a differentiation, before there was the knowledge of evil, before there was the knowledge of negativity. Okay. So they fell, they came here intentionally to experience outside of their spiritual selves. You feel me? But when it was time, after millions of years, it was time now to experience the opposite of self. And then the disagreeables fell. They looked just like us. But when they fell, okay, there were spiritual battles. So what we had to do, we kicked them out of America. So when we kicked them out of America, that's when the world started to split. The world started to divide. Okay? Because first there was a mental separation, and then it happened physically. So now they created their own world, which was actually a new world at that time. All right? And then they did what they had to do. They fell. They fell further into degradation. What what I call, you see, we fell into generation. They fell into what I call degeneration. Okay. But even we ourselves, we had to experience it at a certain time. You dig? And that when it was 1492, it was our turn to experience their degeneration, their false gods. You dig? So now they went and they created, they did gene splicing, cloning, all those things. That's nothing new. All right. That's how they created their hybrid races, because they wanted people to enslave, to work for them. And they are the 13 families. Now you think the 13 families are pale people. No, the pale people are part of that. But the original bloodline 13 families, the Godhead, they are people of color, non-ether beings, but they are the disagreeable ones. Okay? The number 13, why do you think they want you to be afraid of it? The number 13 is a Godhead. That's why the allegorical Jesus and Yeshua, they had 12 disciples, and Jesus and Yeshua, they were the 13th, meaning that the Godhead. So it's the same thing with the 13 families. You feel me? And then they give their children power. In other words, like Genesis said, the dragon passed over the power to the beast. What is the beast? The beast is the created hybrid, but not just any one of them. I'm talking about the lowest one of them, the most breaded one. They give them power because the last have to become the first. And those are the ones you see running the world today. But when it's all said and done, they have a Lord God. The Lord, their Lord God and their gods are the original Asiatic, the original Asiatic black man. So I'm telling this Moors, be very mindful and be very, aware of what you're calling yourself. Now, if you say that's you, then that's fine. Just know that the original Asiatics that fell, the fallen angels, they are the disagreeable ones. So if that's what you want to be, I'm cool with that. All right. But I do know a lot of you were the ones who came here in 1492 and brought your lords and your gods to degenerate my people. But all that was part of the experience. I get it. You feel me? I get it. So when they were enslaving American Indians in 1492, taking them to Europe, even certain parts of Asia to teach, because like I said, that did not happen in 1492. It's an illusion. 1492 is Gregorian calendar. It did not happen in 1492. It happened thousands of years before. Okay. They just changed timelines, changed their story to make the story more believable, so to speak. Okay. So they just changed stories. Change timelines. So it's not even about time. Take the time away and make it timeless. But that's what happened. So they were enslaving American Indians, taking them all over the world, letting them teach their peoples. All right. Certain arts, certain things, whatever the case is. And then all the books that we had, because the original Alexandria was in the Americas. Don't let nobody fool you. It wasn't in Africa. Okay. So when they came, they burned all the libraries. They burned all the knowledge. I'm talking over 700,000 books of knowledge that we wrote and gave them. After they studied it, they burned it so that they could teach their children. You feel me? Like I said, they can't play with me, man. I know this. I know this. And Europe is not even an organic country. Europe was actually made. It was created just for that purpose, to put their children, because why? Their children would not accept it, or on a whole, they were not accepted amongst their tribes, amongst the relatives of their mothers and fathers, because when they came, they were albinos. Okay, and like I told y'all before, a leper or leprosy is not an albino. No, a leper or leprosy is a skin disease. You dig? So I hear, my lineage, Yvonne Smith got, you got a lot of knowledge, lineage, but me and you, we deter to a certain extent. You speak a lot of truth, and I'm not saying that you're wrong, but what I was trying to point out the other day was, I hear all what you were saying about Asia, and all the things you were talking about, right? But what I wanted you to the point I was trying to make is that the ones that came into Asia, that fell into Asia, they are not us. Yes, they are not ether beings, but they are not us. They are the disagreeable ones. They were the disagreeable ones. You feel me? And the righteous seed were actually in the Americas. That's the point I was trying to make. So I know you had mentioned, Anu and all those different things going back to the Anunnaki, and that's all true. Okay, yes, it is still allegorized. It is still symbolic. Anu was just the first recorded universal God. But before Anu, before the Anunnakis, there were civilizations that were calling on different names of deities. It was just the first recorded one. And that's the point that I was trying to make. You feel me? But, you speak a lot of facts, and I respect you for that. You know what I mean? But sometimes when we type things, it may come off in a different way with a different energy. So I just stop responding, because a lot of times when we communicate through text, it may come off a different way than what we are actually trying to, say or elaborate. You know what I'm saying? So that was the reason why I just kind of left it alone, because I didn't want it to be a back and forth thing when I know that you were actually speaking truth. You know what I'm saying? But we were just saying almost the same thing in a different way. You know what I mean? But the truth is stranger than fiction, man. I tell people that. Okay, the truth is stranger than fiction. So the same way that people's mind grew in separation is the same way that the earth grew in separation. The world wasn't always that huge physically. Like I said, when we first came here into the Americas, it wasn't so vast. The world wasn't so vast, but because it had to be extended, and that's what Japheth means. Japheth means to extend. So by the time Noah got here, okay, to have his sons, the world was already extending, because he had to make way for Japheth. All Japheth means is to extend, the extender, okay, vast land. You see, people don't know the symbology of those things. You feel me? They don't know. They don't understand that. And Ham means, a laborer, a slave, the physical body. That's what it meant. It doesn't necessarily mean black people. No, it was a general, it was symbolically generally. Okay. And then you had Shem, which was supposed to be the spiritual aspect of Ham, to raise Ham, okay, from his physical self. And then Japheth would be where, because of the knowledge of the expansion, Japheth would mean the expander, okay? Expansion of the land, expansion of the people. That's what it means, man. All that stuff is allegory. And what Noah actually means, all right, metaphysically, it means rest. So after all the toiling of, the wars and all this thing and all this different, the agreeable versus the disagreeable. Okay, you know what? Boom. Let's come to rest. Let's chill. Let's create again. So that's why Noah was the sixth Adam, because it was time. After the rest was over, okay, it was time to go back into gene splicing. The scientists had to go to work. You did. And that's all it is, man. That's all it is. All right. So you had 7 root races. Okay. It first started with what we call the heavenly man, the heavenly perfect man that had to manifest here in the flesh. That perfect man came here in the Americas. And when I say man, I'm talking about male, female. We created ourselves. All right. It wasn't just a singular man. It was a race of people, the immovable race, the agreeable race. Okay. And then from that race, then you started having what's called, they call it generation, but I call it degeneration. Okay. Degeneration. It wasn't even, they were not even evolving, they were devolving. Okay. Now we are actually in the process of evolving, because we are stepping back into the higher self. So that's called evolution. All right. We are evolving. But what you see in the Bible, it was not Eve. It was de-Eve, devolution. You feel me? De-Eve, devil, that was at work. Evil was at work. That's called devolution. You did. Okay. the opposite of Eve, because Eve, when we had the concept of Eve, that was when we had Hue, Hue. The original Eve is Hue, all right. But the counterfeit Eve or the hybrid Eve is Hum. So you have humans and you have human. It's two different things. Two different things. So that's why you have two concepts of God in the Bible, one talking good, one talking bad. You have two sons, one talking good, one talking bad. But what they did was they trick you into serving the one that was bad, the disagreeable one. That's who your Jesus is. And you don't get that. So when you go into the Bible, you're like, oh, that's contradictory. How come in one verse he come with the sword to kill, then the other one love your neighbor as yourself? Because it's two different sons talking. And both of them came to fulfill the works of their mother and father. You feel me? So by the time, Noah came and it was time for all that to happen, they had to create a land space. They had to create a land space for their children. And that's when they created Europa, which is Europe, roped in. Okay. You rope. That's what it is. I'm roping you in this certain demographic. Okay. But don't forget, there is I, myself, and me, myself, and I. So you is still part of the I. So that was their children. So they roped them in that certain demographic of land without teaching them anything, without no knowledge. So they were on all they were on all fours, couldn't wash themselves, couldn't bathe themselves, bestiality, all that stuff was taking place. So now their lords sent messengers to go teach them. So what they did was they kept the men roped in, and they took the women and made them concubines. All right. But since that they were lords and gods, if you have your children, then obviously your children will inherit what you already have. So that was the rise of those hybrid races. They became nobles. So now they started taking over. And then those children started asking questions. Well, hold up. I'm seeing one side of my family, they black. The others, and I'm using that word black very lightly. I'm seeing one side of my family, they're white. But what happened to my mother's side of the family, my father's? So when they learned the stories that they were actually roped in, okay, and they were still in caves, they was like, now we got to go get them. So they went and got the males, okay, and they started teaching them, about civilization, started teaching them how to bathe, clean themselves, and all that. That's why in Rome they still had the culture, because they still had the culture of bestiality and all those different type of immoral characteristics. That's where the word gym came from. Gymnasium. Gym means, they used to have a museum, okay, or a place where they used to go wrestle butt naked. Okay, or they would have a helmet and a sword, and they would be butt naked, probably a little cape, but swinging underneath the cape. And whoever won the battle, he would be subjected to the victor, and the victor would poke him with his sword. And I'm not talking about the steel sword. I'm talking about the sword below the waist. Okay, that was the custom. You feel me? So that's where homosexuality and all these immoral acts, I'm saying, it rose into prominence. Homosexuality is part of bestiality. You feel me? And the likes. You dig? So that's what happened. Okay. So now we're coming up now to the Moors, ruled certain parts of Spain, or Spain for 700 years. The Moors was just on again, it was on the cusp of what I call another shift. Okay. On another shift, meaning that they were picking up from another group, okay, that they got the power from, because it wasn't just the Moors. It was the Moors, it was the Muslims, it was the Arabs, and what you call the learned Jews. Now the learned Jews, most of them were of the hybrid race, okay, but you also had the Jews, which were more of a Sephardic, okay, ethnic group, which were people of mostly color. All right. But the learned Jews, okay, they became what's called, they created a whole new ethnic group called Semitic or Semi. What semi means or semi means is half, part of. So they were partly or half of or some of, but they were not whole. That's what Jewish is. Okay, Jewish means kind of a kind of Jew. You see what I'm saying? So with that being said, they taught them, and then don't get it twisted. These Jewish people, they go way back, okay, with to their own empires, the Khazar Empire and the Ashkenazi empires. They were millions and millions and millions strong. These people ain't no punk. Don't let nobody fool you. Okay, they had power going all the way back to Rome, but when they came in, it came to a point where they had their own culture, they had their own civilization, they had their own gods. All right, and then back in Rome at that time, the Roman Empire, he wanted to create some type of peace, some type of truce, okay, and he wanted them to accept their their gods, whatever the case is. So they, one of the Roman emperors married one of the Khazarian princesses, or one of their daughters. So now you have the merging of those two kingdoms. I'm talking about Magog and Gog. All that stuff is in the Bible. So when you read the Bible, yes, the Bible has prophecy, but it was prophecy that was put in place by man. So they knew it. In fact, they was writing. It's a journal. The Bible is a journal. It's like you writing your journal of everything that happened since you were born, and then you died for a few hundred years, and now people tell you that's the Bible. Yes, it is your Bible. Okay, it is your ghost spell, the spell of the dead that came, but they were living in that certain time period. So that's why when you have the Bible and you read, and Jesus said, well, listen, you will see the kingdom of God or heaven before you die. He was talking to that generation of that time. He was not talking to future people, because now for you to say he was talking to future people, you would have to admit that Jesus lied, because the kingdom of God did not come in that time. You see what, in other words, it did not come for the people that died when he was talking to, for them to see. So was he a liar? That's not what it means. He was talking to the people of that time. He said that you would see God coming on the clouds, and the sun would turn dark and all that. It hasn't happened. And Christians are still waiting for that. But the man told you it was going to happen in his time, before those disciples died. So now you're going to have to admit, either it was misquoted, or Jesus made a mistake, Jesus didn't know what he was talking about, or the kingdom of heaven came to them in that time. And it was all allegory. All the allegorical Jesus was saying, yo, listen, man, the kingdom of heaven, you will live to see the kingdom of heaven before you die. All he was saying is, you will get to see the kingdom of God within you before you die. So yes, they got to see the kingdom of God. And that's why he reiterated and said, yes, the kingdom of heaven is within. So he taught them that. It wasn't no literal coming in the sky. And you see, Christians today, they're lost and they're confused. And they're going to miss the second coming, because now the second coming is another reawakening of the Christ within you. And I already broke that down in videos. Like I said, I could break all this down like a baby, like I'm feeding a baby food. That's all it is. So I'm giving you synopsis of the stories. So boom. So when these children now became nobles, and guess what they did now? They realized what was done to their forefathers. They started fighting their fathers, which were the black people, the black nobles. All right. They started fighting them, and it was happening all over Europe. While in the Americas, we did not have any of that. Okay. We were still natured people. We were still people in the Great Spirit. Yes, we had our own little beef, because what was happening in that world at that time, it was affecting us as well, because the left brain affects the right brain, and the right brain affects the left. It is still one body. You feel me? So we were, by the time they came here in 1492, it was our turn. We were now on the cusp of our degeneration now at that time. Okay, so a lot of the civilizations that our ancestors built, like the pyramids, we lost the knowledge of that, because now we were degenerating as well. You dig? So before they came to 1492, I mean, before they came here in 1492, there was already beginning behind the scenes a transition of the crown from going to so-called black people to the pale race. All right, but the pale race was just behind the scenes, working as investors, okay, as what you call as lobbyists, because like I said, those Khazarians and those Ashkenazis, they had high power, so they had already gotten power and wealth from Rome because they married into those families. So by the time they got to by the time you got the British what I call the British superpower, okay, started to dismantle, and you had these individual countries like Spain, Portugal, Britain, Ireland, etc., etc. By the time that happened, you were having families intermarrying into each other because they were not stressing color the way we stress color today. Okay, it had nothing to do with color. It was about whether you had land. It was about how big your family was and how much influence you had. Okay, that was what racism was about. It had nothing to do with color. So now you had all these different ethnic groups with different coloration of skin marrying into each other. Okay, so by the time you got to the house of this, the house of Windsor, the house of the house of Tudor, all these different houses, and you got to the current house that you have, then you'll see now it's a complete different ruling class. Okay, but up until the 1900s, they were still kind of biracial. Okay, Queen Elizabeth I was a woman of color. Queen Elizabeth II, now she had a little bit of us in her, but by that time it was completely whitewashed, so to speak. Queen Victoria was from Queen Victoria. It was starting, I think, from the it was a mixture, I think, between or a transition between the Saxon house and I forgot the other one, but that was where the transition was starting to take place. So right after Queen Victoria, it started lightening up, lightening up, lightening up until you get to what we have right now. Okay. Same thing had to happen in the Americas. The same thing that happened in Europe had to happen in the Americas. The original people were people of color, but as time moved by, it had to lighten up as well. Why? Because the first had to be the last, and the last had to become the first. So everything that happened for us, Europe was the new world, but for them it was the only world that they knew. So to them, that was their old world. So when they came over the portal in 1492, and they came through that portal, that time machine, they came into the Americas and they saw a new world, which was actually the old world. So they went back into the future and we went into the past. I mean, no, they went back into the past and we went into the future, into their world. So to us, their world was new, and to them, our world was new, but we were the old world. You feel me? The oldest. But now, because of spiritual knowledge, okay, because of the prophecy that they knew, then a lot of our chiefs already knew spiritually what had to happen. So with that being said, they got into treaties, covenants with those people to hand over our birthright to the sixth ether beings, because it was prophecy. It was supposed to happen. You feel me? It was supposed to happen. If they were not so materialistic and they had not fell off their spirituality, the transition would have happened without so much bloodshed. But because they were still in ignorance, they got into forgetfulness, then it had to become bloody. Because why? They were making sacrifice to their Lord God. He loved sacrifices. He did not want it to be peaceful. And I could prove it to you, even in the Bible. When the Israelites were going to I think it was I forgot what other tribe it was. And he said, listen, if you go to this tribe, all right, and even if they accept you in peace, I still want you to enslave them. Okay? Enslave them. It doesn't matter. Enslave them even if they accept you in peace. But if they don't accept you in peace and they resist, then go ahead and kill everybody. That's their Lord God talking. But so how come that's your God that you serve? A killer. You feel me? So when I tell people you don't know what this book is about, you truly don't know what this book is about. You don't know what it is. It's a journal of their story and their lords, meaning that their people, their kings and queens. This ain't got nothing to do with the supreme most high that created the entire universe. It ain't got nothing to do with that. Nothing whatsoever. So by the time all the wars came, 1492 came, between 1492 and 1776, another covenant was made. All right, a covenant was made. That was a handover. Okay, the handover to the 13 families. So the 13 colonies were, was supposed to come from that. Okay, but the 13 colonies, they were still fighting against their own kings and queens in Europe. People, you know what I'm saying? They were still fighting them because they were still people of color. They were still people of color. And then as time drew, okay, then they, the American Indians, had to pick side, because now you have these different families, whether it was the Dutch, the German, the British, the Irish, whatever the case is. You have these 13 families in the ear of our ancestors. Well, take our side. You know what? We'll do better for you than they could do for you. Take our side. You know what I'm saying? Because they are the bad ones. So now our ancestors were in a predicament. They don't know who to choose, whether to choose the French, the Dutch, the English, whatever the case was. You know what I'm saying? So a lot of them stayed neutral. Okay, a lot of them stayed neutral. But the ones who participated, they were the ones who were allowed to become part of what's called the 5 civilized tribes. All it meant was they became Christians. And that's what Protestant means. Protestant came from the word protest. In other words, they were the ones in England, okay, where they were protesting against the major Catholic religions. And Catholic at that time had many different sects, but they were trying to come up with one major brand of religion. So people started to protest, and they started calling themselves Protestants. Now, the original Protestants, like I said, they were not pale people. The majority of them were people of color, but of course you had pale people in the mix, all right, because the majority rule was people of color. And then you had the Puritans, okay? Puritans come from the word pure, white, meaning that we don't believe in your God, we don't believe what you're doing, so now we believe that ours is pure, so we're going to call ourselves Puritans. Okay? So that's how all these different sects came in. And then you had the Quakers that came in. All those people were people of color. You had the Huguenots that came from France. Okay, hundreds of thousands of them. They escaped religious persecution. The majority of them went to Canada. Okay, majority of them went to Canada. A lot of those people that were chasing, I'm running away from religious persecution, they came from Canada. The Jews. Now the Jews were expelled from many countries. I'm not talking about the Jews of color. Okay, the Jews of color, a lot of them were actually being converted, but I'm talking about the pale race Jews, the pale Jews. Okay, the learned Jews. They were being expelled from hundreds of countries because of their evil ways. You did. Even when they came into the Americas, they expelled them. But finally, they found a way where they put wigs, they even painted their bodies, and they paid to come back into the Americas through Canada. So they came down through the Appalachians, came down into the Americas through the back way, and they started intermingling with the indigenous tribes, changing the names, getting influence, using their power. Okay? So now you have, stuff like, the Creeks. The Creeks are also part of the Greeks. You get the word Creek from Greek. You see what I'm saying? Because they came and mixed in with indigenous people. You get the word Cherokee from different names. Okay, Cherokee, they said was on it for cherry tree, blah, 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 blah. But the point is, even Cherokee was made up by these people. Okay, that is not the original name. And like I told y'all before, they say, well, the original name was Anianwea. Well, that was not the original name. It was just the name that came before Cherokee. All Anianwea means is the people of Yah. So it was the original Jews, the people of color that came here, the children of Yah that came here, okay, and mixed in with indigenous people and called themselves Anianwea, the children of Yahweh, okay? And then they branched off when the pale people started coming in, and they created a new nation for them called Cherokee. So now they started ratifying what's called the treaties. But because they had to give power to their children like they did in Europe, okay, the Anianwea gave the treaty or give the covenant to the Cherokee, which is their pale skinned children. You see, y'all don't know what I trust me. I know this, like I said, like the back of my hand. Then you have the Seminole. The Seminole is a mixture or combination of people and Mediterraneans, Greeks, and all these different factions of ethnic groups. That's why they're called Seminole. Semi means half or some, part of. Okay? So what they did now, they created all these boarding schools to teach all these immigrants, to teach all these aliens, to teach them how to be American Indian. That's what these boarding schools was about. So the majority of the boarding schools was in Florida before they sent up. I think Saint Augustine or Saint Petersburg, one of them. I think it's Saint Augustine is like one of the oldest cities that was ever created in the United States. But that was created first, and then they sold it over to it was created by the Spaniards, and then it was sold over to the British. By the time the British took over, then I think it became St. Petersburg. All right, and that's when they started bringing in the Greeks, people from the Mediterranean. All right, that's where you have the Menochans. That's now you started having the Menochans, and they having all those communities that they were creating. You feel me? And even those people once again started mixing in with the original indigenous people. So like I tell people, man, they have to know the story. And the reason why it's challenging to put the pieces together is because it is just so many bits and pieces of so many different things happening. But the best way to learn this, okay, you have to learn what happened in Europe before these people came here. If you cannot go to the beginning, then you will not be able to tell the story. It's like going to the movies and you miss the entire beginning and you saw the ending, and now you want to come tell me what the whole movie is about. You cannot do that. So that's what I did. I went back. I asked for guidance. You know what I'm saying? I asked the ancestors to, just open up the universal mind and show me, give me the information that I need, put all the pieces together. You feel me? And every time I ask the question, I go lay down, they would give me a piece. All right. Sometimes I would forget because it's so much. So whatever, they give me, I would write it down. Okay. And then I would go back and lay down and close my eyes and get the rest of the information. So they gave it to me in pieces, in pieces, in pieces. So I was able to put the puzzle together. That's why it took me so long, okay, to literally put this together. I've been working on this for 20 years, but then it was only within the past 5 years after I wrote my first book and that sold out, it went out of circulation. That was about law and legal. And then it was time to write the book that I'm writing now. So another 5 years to literally get into my bag and get into that spiritual or that universal mind and pull that information off. So now I'm giving you all the information to show you and prove to you that all these nobles were people of color. All of them. And I'm giving you the proof. Everything was just whitewashed. Now, whitewash could mean two things, all right? Whitewash have two, it's symbolic in two ways. You have the first whitewash ain't got nothing to do with pale skinned people. The first whitewash was about status. Keep that in mind. That's why when you go to I think it was either 17 something or 18 something, when you look at what a free white person was, a free white person had nothing to do with the color of skin. Moors, Africans, different ethnic groups that had dark skin, they were called free white people. Why? Because they were free white people. In other words, they had a different status. They had a different status. And for them to further elaborate that, to separate themselves from the people that they call the Negroes or the blacks, they gave them what's called the More Sundry Act. So that was another act to protect the Moors. So they were able to gain their freedom through that as well, just in case they got caught up with the so-called black people that were actually they were called slaves or African slaves, because all Africa meant at that time was slave. Africa didn't necessarily mean you came from Africa, okay? Because they were already enslaving Africans and African people. They were a very subtle, domicile people in nature. That's why you hear Africans always talking about yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. We don't do that in the Americas, okay? I see you as a man. I call you by your name, period. Okay, so we have a different makeup. So when they went to Africa and started enslaving people, they realized the people were domicile and everything is yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir, yes, sir. So now they just associated Africa with black and black with slave. So when they came into the Americas to do what they do, everybody was just African, even if the people were already there. You dig? So now they gave you this concept of what's called a Middle Passage. Once again, that's why it's called a Middle Passage. That is a loaded statement, because all Middle Passage meant is a spiritual thing, going from another realm to another realm. That was 1492 was a middle passage. Okay, the middle of going from their world into our world. It was a portal. That's why it was called the Middle Passage. It had nothing to do with people coming from Africa as slaves. Nothing whatsoever. So let us go back to whitewashing. So that was the first whitewashing. Okay, these people of color coming here to us, they had a status of white. Okay, because they were nobles. So they were whitewashing them. In other words, replacing the indigenous people of the Americas. They were doing it by enslaving them, and then they started doing it on paper. So that was the first form of whitewashing. Okay, replacing the original people with people that look just like us, but giving them a status of white. And then once that happened, then they had to give it to their children. That was when the whitewashing started happening physically, meaning that literally, in other words, in regards to looking at white from a skin perspective. So that was another form of whitewashing. And that whitewashing didn't happen until the 1900s. But before that, the whitewashing was people who look just like us, whitewashing us, okay, by taking our place, because their status was white. Not in complexion, but once again, in status. So you have two different versions of whitewashing. You have two different versions of white people. One on paper and one they created to mean pale white. Because white was a status meant pure. That's what it was, pure, freedom, okay? Moral. And black meant immoral, death, slave, African. That's what it meant. Okay. Yes. Give me 1 second here for a second. Give me 1 second. Give me 1 second here. Give me 1 second. Let me just see something. I can't find that individual, but anyway, you have one of the fools, one of the provocateurs, that's actually on my live right now. But I'm gonna block you though, because I could tell you, Kingdom of Judah, you're one of those Israelites, because I'm speaking the truth about y'all Lord God, right? I'm talking the truth about y'all devilish God. That's what oh man, this clone stuff, you ain't no Native American. I'm not a native, in the sense of just being born. Okay. So like I said, man, y'all could hate as much as y'all want. You know what I mean? Y'all can't phase me because the truth is gonna be exposed. People are waking up to the truth. So all y'all foolishness with y'all Lord God and y'all Bible, trust me, people are waking up to that. All right. People are waking up to that. People are waking up to that. Trying to see. Okay. I can't find it, can't find the fool. So I'll just go ahead and block this idiot. Well, let me just block this idiot. All right. Talking about people are waking up to we Judah. What the hell are you talking about? All right. Get out of here with y'all foolishness, man. Y'all gods in ours, man. Okay. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Mr. G1. Italians were not considered white. Okay, they were not. You feel me? You know what I mean? So they want to come here and, you know, give us this false illusion that their gods is our gods. Now we are the gods. We are the gods. You did. And we are the original ones that came here. Okay. So I don't care what you call yourself, tribe of Judah, tribe of this, tribe of Dan, tribe of that. That ain't got nothing to do with us. That stuff came from Asia and it went down all the way to Europe and Africa. Okay. So that ain't got nothing to do with us. That ain't got nothing to do with us. You feel me? So, like I said, man, people people will continue to stay lost, but the truth is coming out, and people will wake up eventually, and they will learn the truth. I'm trying to see if I could find something to show you real quick. Give me 1 second. Let me see which phone I have it on. Give me 1 second. Could I tell people everything that I talk about? I show the proof. You know what I mean? I'm just not on here talking. I show the proof. I show it. Give me 1 second to see if I could find this. James Cross is Britain. I'm British. Let me see. Britain means covenant. Let me see if I could find that for you. Because like I said, I'm gonna show y'all. Think I don't know what I'm talking about? Let me just, my brothers and sisters, let me give y'all some more facts. If y'all think Chief don't know what he's talking about, let me get into my bag. Let me show y'all something. Come on, man. What's up with that? Check this out. Okay. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Give me 1 second. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. Let me just show y'all something real quick. Oh, come on. Why is it doing that, man? Y'all want to come here with y'all foolishness. Let me go ahead and share my screen real quick. Let me share this. Let me share that. Okay. Let me show y'all all of this. Y'all think I'm playing? Like I said, don't play with me, man. I'm not the one to be played with. Don't play with me because I'll expose all of this. Now check this out. Let my screen populate real quick. Let me see. Am I sharing my screen? I think I am. Maybe I'm not. Let me go ahead and share it again because it's not allowing me to share it. Present. All right. Let this populate. Check this out, right? Check this out. This was published December 2nd, 2005. Rabbi Samuel Silver of Boca Raton, Flair, has a short question. Is British related to Brit? Right? I take it that question is tongue in check. The claim that British comes from the Hebrew word Brit or covenant, familiar to make of of you. It's Ashkenazic form of bris or circumcision, and ish, man. So that means man of the covenant has been around for as long as 200 years. In fact, it goes back to the beginning of the British Israelites, a movement founded in England in the early 19th century to promulgate the idea that the British people hailed from the 10 actual 9 lost tribes of the northern kingdom of Israel that disappeared from history after carried out into exile by Assyrians in the 8th century. The British Israelite movement was founded by an Englishman named Richard Brothers, who in the 1800s published a book titled Correct Account of the Invasion of England by the Saxons, showing the English nation to be descendants of the lost 10 tribes. 10 tribes. At its peak in the 19th and early 20th centuries, the movement had tens of thousands of followers, among many proofs offered offered by it. Soon as the claim that the stone of the scorn in Westminster Abbey was the very stone that served Jacob as a pillow on the night he dreamed his ladder was angels while fleeing from his brother Esau, were a large number of supposed linguistic resemblances being English and biblical Hebrew. The British equation was one of the foremost of these. Of course, any beginning Hebrew student could tell you that man of the covenant in Hebrew is Ish, Brit, and not British. But the British Israelites were never a group too deferred by even the simplest facts. Brothers himself died in a lunatic asylum, and his disciples, while not necessarily as unbalanced as he was, were less. Anyway, bottom line is this, right? Let me explain to you what's going on. All right. The don't let nobody fool you with this whole, Israelites, became enslaved and all this stuff. Let me tell you something. The original people that call themselves Israelites, right? They were the ones who gave their children, okay, who gave their children that was in Britain, they gave them power to rule. So don't let nobody fool you with that stuff, man. Don't let nobody fool you. Okay. All this Israelite stuff had nothing to do with the Americas. That had nothing to do with the Americas. That started in Asia. It went down to Africa, and it went down to Europe. It was only later that whole stuff of Judaism, Christianism, Islam, all that stuff came into the Americas. Our people were a polytheistic people, meaning that we saw the Great Spirit in everything. We had a God for the water. We had a God for the trees. We had a God for the wind. We had a God for the rock. We saw we saw what you call it, the Great Spirit in everything. Okay, so all that's what I'm trying to prove to you. All that stuff was passed on to their children, and their children corrupted, their information. That's all it was. That's all it was. Okay. That's why they had to give you two versions of it. You had the original ones, and you had their children who had to take their place. And they are the ones that call themselves Israelites today. They are the ones that own the banks today, the 13 families. But don't be fooled. Okay. Their parents are still the ones in charge. That's why you go back to all the way back to Abraham. Okay. You had the original concept of Abraham, and then through his children, all right, you also have the split where the pale race came from. They are all one people. Those are their children. They are the children of the disagreeables. Okay, so don't let them fool you with that nonsense. Now, if y'all want to continue to serve their gods, that's on y'all. Do what y'all got to do. But eventually you will see the truth coming to light. More people are going to let go of all these religions. I don't care what tribe you say you're from. They're going to let go of it. Okay? Because the Great Spirit is not monotheistic when it comes to manifestation. Okay? Like I showed y'all before, even in creating your body, they have different gods responsible for creating each part of your body. That's why it said, let us, gods, plural. But they had to go around the world killing people, enslaving people, raping people to get this one energy for you to serve, a demonic energy. So don't come here with your nonsense, man. Like I said, if this is not for you, go do your own videos. You feel me? And do what you got to do with it. But I'm here to expose the lies. I'm here to expose the corruption so that people could free themselves spiritually. And that is my main purpose. Okay? Putting my ancestor story back in its proper context. And that's what it's all about. So we are not part of your lost tribes. We never, the only reason we became lost is when y'all came here in 1492 and forced y'all religions on us. And our people went into a state of sleep, into a coma. And now they went into a state of forgetfulness. That was the only lust, because they started lusting after your women. They started lusting after your materialistic ways. Our people were walking on gold, and we did not pay no mind to that. Our people just would pick up gold and look at it like as if it was a piece of plastic. Let me just show you how innocent our people were. Our people were not stupid they were not stupid. They were just innocent. And innocent, comes with ignorance. Can you imagine giving somebody a piece of gold for a piece of glass? That's what our people was doing. Because again, we were not materialistic in that sense. Even if we were building our structures with all those things, it was common to us. It was normal. Okay, it was only to these heathens, these greedy bastards that came here to put a value on what we had. Okay? We thought the land belonged to everybody. We thought the land belonged to everybody. We did not claim no land, even if we know it was a matter of respect. Your family's on that land. We know that's your portion. We knew that. It wasn't until they came. They started putting ropes and separating. That was the first form of what you call fractionalization, the fractioning of the lands. They did it with ropes, and then later they created imaginary lines. That's why you could go from Delaware to Maryland and put on your GPS, and you're traveling the same land. All of a sudden, 2 seconds in, welcome to Maryland. But hold up, 2 seconds ago, I was in Delaware. 2 seconds later, I'm in Maryland. You see, it's an illusion that they gave us. So when I'm teaching my people, I'm giving you things that you could relate to, because I'm letting it make sense, because it's only sense, logic, that will bring you to the truth. It's the same thing with all these lands. It is all an illusion. So your gods were not our deities. No, we allowed y'all to, well, it happened, okay, where we fell and we started worshiping your gods. And because we started doing that, we fell even further. Because like I said, all that was prophesied was supposed to happen. So don't tell me, well, this is who you are and this and that and blah, 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 blah. Let me go pull something up real quick. Okay. Talking about you of Judah, but you're not an Israelite. Okay, well, what does that, how you think that whole concept of Israelite came up? It was a group of a small tribe of Judah, okay, that one of the tribe that came up with that whole Israelite concept, because they were fighting amongst themselves and they separated. All right. And then Jacob, one of the guys, from Judah, a Judean, okay, he fought with a man, they said which was God, and then he changed his name to Israel, which was another branch of Judah, an extension of Judah. So what you talking about, dog? Don't play with me, man. Like I said, I know this, man. Let me show you who your God is. And I already exposed them, talking about, oh, well, I'm not an Israelite. I'm from the tribe of Judah. Let me show you who your God is. Y'all think I'm playing? Nah, y'all getting this work. Let me show you who your God is. Let me show you who the God of Judah is. Y'all think I'm playing? Y'all keep coming against me, man. Trust me, your God cannot touch me. I'm above him. I'm greater than him. Let me show you who your God is. Your God is Yahweh. Yahweh was the ancient Levantine deity that emerged as a divine warrior associated with Seir or Edom. Okay, the same Edom that y'all talking about are pale people. Edom is not pale. Edomites are not pale people. Edomites are red people, just like Adam. So now, like I said, I'm going to put y'all in some uncomfortable positions for y'all to speak the truth, because every tongue will confess. So if Edom means red, man of the earth, and Adam means red, man of the earth. So therefore, it would be a contradiction for you to say that Adam was a so-called black man. Because if you keep calling Edomites white people, then therefore Adam had to be a white man. But it's a good thing I'm not an Adamite, because I'm a pre-Adamite. You see, y'all cannot test me, son. Y'all can't test me. So let's read this again. Yahweh was an ancient Levantine deity that emerged as a divine warrior associated with Seir, Edom, Paran, and Teman, and later with Canaan as the national god of the ancient Israelites and what? The Judaites. Okay, the Judaites. So yeah, you from the tribe of Judah. What does that mean? Your God is still Yahweh. It is still Yahweh. Okay, Yahweh is a dualistic being. Yah means male and female, and Way means female. Yah means good, Way means evil. A dualistic nature God. You see, y'all so dumb and stupid. Y'all want to play with me? Don't play with me, bro. Don't play with me. I got my facts. I got this knowledge, man. Yahweh is not my God. I said, y'all gonna get this work, man. You understand? Y'all gonna get it. Maybe I'm coming too hard on Facebook, because Facebook just, they just kind of, anyway, let me stop sharing that. So like I said, everything that I'm giving you, everything that I'm talking about, guess what? I could come and give the facts about it. Documentation beats conversation. I don't care how y'all talk. I'm giving you facts. I'm giving you documents. I'm telling you about your God. And guess what? Y'all did not serve Yahweh, because it was only after a certain point in Genesis, y'all did what? Then man started to call on the name of the Lord. Let me ask you a question. What were you calling before that? Who were you calling on before that, before you call Yahweh your God? Who or whom? Whichever one. Okay? Which one were you calling your God before you call Yahweh your God? But Jehovah? Jehovah is the same thing. Okay? Jehovah is the same thing. Dualistic in nature. Je, masculine. Hova, feminine. Je, the good side. The female side. And then from them, they created their own race, their own Adam and Eve. Don't matter how you come, you getting that work, you getting that spanking. You getting it. And all their creations was made in the likeness and image of the original people, the immovable race in the Americas. So what you talking about, man? We didn't have anything to do with none of that. None of that, period. Anyway, I think I gave y'all enough. Let me get out of here, man. Let me go ahead and get me some coconuts. I'm gonna drink me, like, you know what? I'm gonna drink 2 coconut water today. Yeah, I need to rebalance. You know what I'm saying? Not that y'all threw me off my balance, but y'all kind of got me a little hype. You know what I mean? Because I have to come put that spanking on y'all. All right. Any one of you guys, I don't care what you call yourself. You could call yourself an Israelite, you can call yourself tribe of Judah, you can call yourself tribe of Dan, whatever you call yourself. If you are basing your existence based on that Bible, come get the work. Come get the work. Because I'm going to show you and prove to you that your Lord in the Bible is Satan. Your Lord in the Bible is the devil. I'm going to prove it to you. So go ahead and tell me that that book is the foundation of your reality, and come get that work. Come get it. Because like I said from the very beginning, okay, even the agreeable aspect of the son in the Bible, because you have a disagreeable one and you have an agreeable one. So they said the agreeable one is Yeshua, whatever name you want to call it, don't make a difference. You have the agreeable Jesus and you have the disagreeable Jesus. So I'm going to talk to you about the agreeable one. The agreeable one said what? Your father was a liar and a thief from the very beginning. And who do you think he's talking about? He's talking about Yahweh and Jehovah, you idiots. That's what he's talking about. That wasn't his father. He went to meet his father, a whole different entity. A whole different entity. Y'all want to play these games with me, man? Y'all got the right one. Trust me, but at the same time, you got the wrong one, because I'm going to expose all of this. Period. We are not the same. We are not the same. We came from a whole different bloodline. We came from a whole different spiritual umbilical cord. We are not the same. We are not. Y'all God, y'all creator, subscribed and was promoting murder, rape of children, of virgins, taking people's land, condoning lies, okay, testing his people just to see if they would worship him or if they would be faithful to him. Well, if you are all knowing and you're omnipresent and omnipotent, why wouldn't you know whether they're gonna be pure in their heart or not? Why you have to come see for yourself? Why you have to test Job to see if Job was faithful? You should already know that. Why you have to ask Satan when he came to check you with your sons? Why you have to ask him where he was at? You should already know that. So to prove to see if Satan would lie, Satan is supposed to lie according to your Bible. But guess what? Satan told the truth. Yo, I was in the earth chilling. Even Satan spoke the truth more than your damn Lord. Y'all want to test me, son? Don't test me. No, don't test me, man. Even Satan spoke the truth compared to your Lord. Because guess what? Satan have to speak the truth. Just like how Judas got to speak the truth. Because their character was built that way, adversary. There's no need for the adversary to lie. Because he's already the adversary. What difference is going to make? You see what I'm saying? But what they're not telling you is that Yahweh, okay, takes up Yah when he want to be right, when he want to be righteous, and then he takes up Way when he want to be when he wants to be unrighteous. So basically, he's playing two roles. That's your God, bro. A two-faced man, a shifter. And y'all want to come talk to me? I'm above that, man. I'm above your God. Why you think your God is repenting in the Bible? He repented. And whether you want to look at repent as regret, the point is, why are you doing something that you're going to regret and you are supposed to be God? Nah, when God does what God does, there's no regrets. That's the word. That's the word, son. So why you regret? Why are you repenting? For what reason? For the evil that you did. Why? It's in the Bible. Why is your Lord repenting? Repenting to whom? Himself? Come on, man. Obviously, there's a higher deity than that fool y'all call y'all Lord. And that's why I could speak with so much power and authority, and not be afraid of my soul being condemned, because I'm speaking the truth. I'm speaking the truth. That's a demigod, man. I came from the bloodline of the most high of the highest. So your Lord is beneath me, son. Y'all don't get that. So you want to get in your bag. You want to get into your emotions. Oh, well, I'm not an Israelite. I'm Judah. Oh, you're not a native. You're not or Aborigine. What do you know about me? Won't y'all go back to Asia? Go back to Africa. Go back to Europe. That's where that whole Israelite and Judah, all that stuff came into play. And you will hear people say, well, all of this happened in the Americas. I'm not denying that. I'm not disputing that. But all those concepts did not start in the Americas. Okay? It did not start in the Americas. And whether you want to say Utah is Judah, I don't care what you want to call it. That was not the original name. So when y'all came here with y'all colonize, to colonize our lands and give it your names, don't try to tell me, well, that's the original. No, it's not the original name. It is not. Okay, it is not the original name. But I'm not disputing that it all started in the Americas. I'm not disputing that. But y'all were kicked out of the Americas. That's why y'all had to go to Asia and create your own people. So yes, Native Americans are Israelites because they are your children. Oh, y'all didn't know, huh? Okay. Well, guess what? I just let it out the bag. Man, let me go. Like I said, let me go drink some coconut water, man. Let me go do what I do. Let me go do what I do. Don't worry, Lineage. Like I said, I'm going to Jamaica on Sunday. I'm going down there for 8 24-hour cycles, what you may call 8 days. And I'm going to knock out this book, finish it up. That's the goal, that's the plan. And when I come back, I'm giving myself I would say, probably within, when I come back, I would say another 2 7-day cycles, what you call 2 weeks. I will edit, and then I will go to production. And I'm going to open up your mind to a whole new world. Now, a lot of the information you probably have gotten in bits and pieces, because I got to be quite honest. When the ancestors give me certain things, I have to do research, okay, to find tangible information that could correlate with what they gave me. So a lot of you that post things, a lot of you that do videos, all right, and I come across it, I want to thank you, because sometimes that's exactly what I'm looking for. So a lot of you are actually, speaking the truth, but it's just in spurts. One person have one part, another person have another part, another person have another part. Okay. So the gift I was given the gift to put the whole puzzle together. So that's what I'm doing in my book. And like I said, I'm breaking all that stuff down, man, from going from Europe, talking about the plagues, talking about, the farming. What they will not tell you is there were plagues in Europe all the way up until the 1900s. Okay, but it was really bad between the early 1300s and the mid 1300s, where millions, over close to 100 million people died in Europe, son. Okay, and then you had the famine, and those people were literally practicing cannibalism because of the famine. They were hoarding the food. All the nobles were hoarding the food, and the regular people, they were not in a position to eat, so they would eat their family. Women was eating their babies, man. You see, nobody's telling you them stories because they want to keep it away from you. I'm talking about people in general. It had nothing to do with the skin color. Okay, nothing to do with skin color. All right. Even the people who were in jails, the criminals, they were eating each other. So that people. So now, when people started, rioting, they put them in jail. All right, and the people in jail were eating them, and then they would have a dump yard outside of the jail, and they would throw bodies outside the jail in a dump yard, and regular citizens would go in the dump yard and start eating dead people. You see, y'all don't know, but I'm giving y'all. I'm gonna give it to you. So when they tell you all that stuff about slavery from Africa and all that, no, it wasn't possible because they could not have afforded it. King James was struggling. Isabella and Ferdinand, they were struggling. It was only after a time, when the Moors helped them out. After they defeated the Moors, they contracted the Moors to help them to work for the Moors work for them as contractors to continue to help their empires grow. You feel me? Okay. But that time, England was still struggling. They were still struggling because they were dealing with the ramifications of those plagues and the famine. And they said it was a plague from their Lord. Go look it up. Do your own due diligence. Don't believe anything I say. Don't believe anything that I say. So they could not have afforded to come to the Americas, then go to Africa to get slaves and then come back into the Americas. No, they could not have afforded it. They were struggling. King James died broke and poor. Okay, Queen Elizabeth died broke and poor. Go do your own due diligence, lineage. Don't believe anything that I say, man. I'm giving you facts and I have the facts to prove it. So the reason why they were able to get back on their feet, it was because of the Khazarians and the Ashkenazi learned Jews that became Jewish. All right. And that was the start of their prominence in terms of becoming royalty on a global scale. Okay. Because the same people that they were expelling all over the place, those were the same people that they had to use to help them get back on their feet. In other words, the stone that the builder refused was the same, became the cornerstone, and they became the 13 families owning all the banks in the world right now. But at first, they did not want them. They were killing them on stakes. They were doing that. They were destroying them because of the evil they thought these people were doing in the world. So they did not want to be a part of them. But because the plagues came, okay, like I told y'all, why didn't your Lord God save you from the plagues? You know why? Because he doesn't have the ultimate power. It was the supreme most high, that feminine energy and that masculine energy, as particularly the feminine energy that's always loving. Okay, that helped y'all out. So now you were able to come into the Americas, the land of milk and honey, my motherland, as a refuge. That's why when you came, that was your refuge, the Garden of Eden you came into, the Garden of Eden that was still bountiful. You feel me? Until you came in, and then you brought the version of the tree of life and death to give my people options. It's either you accept this or you die. Another replay of Genesis, another replay of the Genesis story. Come on, man. Because it had already played out in Europe. So now it was time for it to be played out in the Americas. So y'all brought your plague selves into our lands and talk about, oh, well, we came and we give the American Indians, smallpox. No, y'all didn't give us smallpox intentionally. No, you didn't. You already had the smallpox. You were prone to diseases. Okay, you were prone to diseases. Okay. So stop playing with me, man. You were prone to diseases, influenzas, all those things. You were already getting that. So when you came here, yes, you were spreading it to my people, but it did not wipe out the Indians, because I'll tell you why. Because when you went to Africa, you did the same thing and the Africans didn't die. Okay. And they were not immune to your smallpox. So why didn't the Africans die? When you went to Africa and y'all gave them those smallpox? How is that it was only in the Americas, a whole new continent, that you gave smallpox to the indigenous people and you wiped them out completely? That's a lie. No, you wiped us out on paper. Okay? On paper. So our ancestors did not die from smallpox, because I'm going to show you in my book and prove to you, even the people in Scotland who were people of color, they had natural herbs that were dealing with all these diseases. Okay? So ask yourself a question. If it were not killing people in Africa because they had natural herbs, what make you think we did not have natural herbs in America to deal with your plague individuals? Come on, man. They sold us an illusion. They sold us an illusion. The people they came into the Americas with, these people came from Europe and not Africa. Now, yes, you may have had Africans in their mix because they were already taking people from Africa. They were already in Africa, enslaved in Africa. So they were taking people back from Africa to Europe. The same thing they did in America. They took people from America and brought them to Europe because they were rebuilding because of the plagues that they went through, because of the farming that they went through. They needed people to help them build, people with the knowledge to help them build with irrigation and farming and all those different things. They were rebuilding. So they were not taking slaves from Africa to America. No, they were taking slaves from Africa to Europe. And they were taking slaves from America to Europe, my brothers and sisters. And when they finally came into the Americas, they were coming with the indentured servants they already had. They did not make extra trips to go to Africa. Okay? It was only until the late 1800s to the early 1900s they went to Africa to get a few people. And that was done on contracts. Their chiefs and kings knew exactly where they were going. They came here as servants. It was only later they became slaves because why? King George was like, nah, man, listen, we're not abolishing anything. You came here as servants. You came here on a 7-year contract. Nah, that ain't going to work. Forget that. You serve your 7. No, I'm going to enslave you against your will. And that's when slavery really started. And it all the way up until the late 1700s, the slaves were American Indians. Don't let these people trick you. Don't let them trick you. You dig? And guess what? Everything that they did it according to their Bible because it was okay for their Lord to do it. Go read the Bible. What do you think he had the Israelites doing to all those different tribes around them? The same thing they did in the Americas. So in those people's mind, that was the interpretation of the Bible. In their mind, they were doing what their God wanted them to do in their mind. In their mind. So y'all think this is a game? It's not a game. It's not a game, man. It's right in your face. All you have to do is know a little bit of history and read the book. Okay? Even in Russia, in Germany, in Prussia, all those places, the nobles were so-called black people. Okay? Even Casanova, the one of the biggest players in the world. I mean, he slept with everything that moved. Ugly, pretty, beautiful, I mean, lumped face, whatever the case is. It didn't matter what complexion. He slept with everything that moved. Casanova, the great Casanova, guess what? He was a man of color. But if you go on the internet and look to see who he is, you'll see a pale-faced individual. King Charles, man of color. His sons were people of color. His grandsons were people of color. I even got Abraham Lincoln autobiography where he told you he was a tall black man in his own words. So don't let these people fool you, man. Don't let them fool you. The only thing is they came from across the seas. So once again, it begs the question, how could all these people come from Africa as slaves when the majority of them came here, they were people of nobility? So you cannot tell me they came from Africa and went to Europe as slaves. No, because they were people of nobility. All right. You had so-called men of color, black men, sleeping with Queen Anne. So if they were slaves, you're talking about the slave was sleeping with, the queen? Like I said, man, people are just swallowing what they were given. That's all. And what you have to realize is who controls the narrative controls the story. Who controls the narrative controls the story. So we are all being played. We are all being played. Everybody. And that's why I can't wait for more people to wake up and start bombarding these religions, man. You know what I mean? Take them out of circulation. Give them back their lords and their gods. Give it back to them. Okay, because it's that energy that's creating all the evil in the world right now. And people are not aware of that. And they're giving it more energy by worshiping it. That's what they're doing. Not realizing the spell that they're actually under. They're under a spell. You feel me? They're actually under a spell. You had Queen Charlotte. You had all those queens were, again, women of color. You had the Caesars and the Tsars of Russia, people of color. It wasn't until later they had to hand it over to their pale children. They had to give it to them. They had to hand it over to them. And that's facts. Some of them fought for it, but some of them got it because it was their heritage. It was their heritage. What do you think? What do you think the First World War One was about? The First World War One was about going around the world and freeing a lot of these pale people. Okay, that was still in caves. See, you man, listen, man. I think I'm done before YouTube flag my video and put me on timeout because they don't like people speaking all this truth. All right. They don't like, but I have the proof to prove everything I'm saying. But they don't like people speaking truth, so they tell you you're violating their standards, But yet still, a so-called black man could come on here and talk about let's kill a nigga, call your mother a hoe, call your mother a bitch, and that's not violating their standards. All that's fine. You know what I mean? So if people can't wake up and see what's going on, I can't help y'all, man. I can't help you. Whenever you're destroying yourself, it's called self-destruction. It is not violating their standards at all. But anytime you start speaking truth and it involves them, oh well, it's coming to standards. You're violating. You know what I mean? And then they put you on timeline for like 5 or 6 months. 90 days, so you can't talk the truth. I tell you, man, this is real. This is real. Okay. But always remember this, and I'm going to be on here for another 2 or 3 minutes, 5 for the most. Always remember this. There are 2 sides of the coin. All right. There are 2 sides of the coin that people are actually conscious of. But the truth is, there are actually 3 sides of the coin. You have the head, you have the tail, and you have the middle in between the tail and the head. That's why you could take a coin and put it and it could stand. All right, it could stand on its side. However, you have the head and the tail on either sides. Okay, so let me explain this to y'all. When you put a coin to stand, the part of the coin that it stands on is what is considered the supreme all. That is the supreme all. Okay, what you may call the supreme most high. But the supreme most high doesn't have emotions. I'm talking about the all. The all doesn't have emotions, but yet still emotions is in the all. The all doesn't have eyes, but yet still eyes is in the all. The all doesn't have ears, but ears is in the all. The all doesn't have emotions, but emotions is in the all. Well, Chief, what do you mean by that? Where all the emotions and all the characteristics are manifest is within the head and the tail. So within the all, you have the head and the tail. The head is the agreeable side, the positive side, the righteous side, the good side. And the tail is considered the disagreeable, the unrighteous, the evil side. So that manifested within the all. And those are the ones that have emotions. Okay, the head or the tail, but not the all. Okay. So when you pray to the all, your prayer is falling on deaf ears. Why? Because the all doesn't have ears. It is only the manifestation that came from the all that have ears. And based on that vibration, that feeling, then it is felt within the all. Okay? So that's why I tell people the Most High is not the all. The Most High manifested through the all. Both Most Highs. You have the evil Most High and you have the good Most Highs, the agreeable and the disagreeable. And then you had a race of people that came from the head, meaning that the agreeable side, and they came to earth. But at that point, there was no consciousness of the tail. Okay? Meaning that there was no evil. There was no evil. But evil was still within the all. But it wasn't manifest. It wasn't made manifest. And then it was millions of years later when it was time for the left side of the coin to make manifest, to create what's called, or to be aware of balance, so to speak, to be aware. Because before the fall, it didn't mean that there wasn't balance. There was balance. Okay, the balance was, it had a different connotation, which was just peace and righteousness. That's balance. But then another form of balance had to come, the ability or the knowledge to know the difference or the differentiation in balance, which is left and right. So now you had two sets of what you call Elohims that came, the good ones and the bad ones. And the bad ones, they will fight different lords within the pantheon of those Elohims or deities. They were fighting for power amongst each other to see which one would rule. It just so happened that Yahweh, aka Jehovah, he won the battle on the evil side, the Delta side. Okay. But then on the good side, we always knew that the totality or the Great Spirit is in everything in nature. There is no differentiation. You feel me? And that's the bloodline or the spiritual umbilical cord that we came from in the Americas. Now, does it mean that some of our people did not go to the left side? That's not what it means. A lot of them went to the left side because of learned behaviors. And hence, good and evil was made manifest. And that's it in a nutshell, my brothers and sisters. Okay. Somebody had posted on YouTube, hey, Chief, can you make the video shorter? Well, I have a lot to say. So, I'm not going to make this one a 5-hour video today. So, like I said, I'm going to give you 5 more minutes and I'm going to conclude. Once again, I continue to send positive energy, send love to each and every one of you. I wish you nothing but the best in your growth. Okay. And for those who have eyes, let them see. For those who have ears, let them hear. Okay. And I'm not talking about physical ears or eyes. That's a whole different concept of seeing and hearing. But I'm talking about from a spiritual perspective. It is only then you will see the truth, when you take yourself away from the flesh. When you don't see yourself as the flesh, you see something different. You see truths that's outside of the flesh, outside of time. Okay? And things will be revealed to you. And only then, when you have found your true self, you would have found what we call the righteous God, or you call the unrighteous God. It's really up to you, because you got free will. You see, that's what will is. Okay. Free will is not commandments. Commandments are laws. Commandments are statutes. Commandments are codes. All right. Free will, or will, is basically having the ability to put something out there in the universe to become your reality, whether it's good or bad. That's what free will is. Free will is not, oh, I have the right to kill somebody. No, that's not free will. Okay. Those were commandments. Those were statutes. Those were codes. But however, free will means you're able to will things out of the universe deem it good or bad. So whatever you speak, whatever you ask the universe for, whatever you put out there through your words become your will. You are willing things into manifestation. You are willing things into existence. That is your free will. That's why we all have free will, because we have the ability to speak it and then it becomes. That is free will. Okay? That is free will. Free will is not, oh, I want to be homosexual. No, that's not free will. You see what I'm saying? Those are personal decisions that you're making. That is not free will. Free will, once again, is to be able to ask things of the universe or speak things, okay, of the universe, and it becomes your reality. You feel me? Going to steal somebody's car is not free will. No, that is a commandment or a law or or statute, whatever you want to call it, that you, an ordinance that you are violating. So know the difference between commandments, which are statutes, which are codes, okay, which are ordinances. Know the difference between those and free will. People taking free will to mean a whole complete different thing, and they don't know what free will means. Okay, you are willing things into existence, be them good or bad. That's what free will is. When you speak and it become. So be very mindful of what you're willing. In other words, be mindful of what you're putting out there in the universe, because it's going to give it to you, and most likely it's going to give it to you tenfold. All right. Have yourselves an amazing continuation. One. Can you imagine that? I literally just um say I'm about to get out of here, and then all of a sudden it's 11:11. 11 people, it's showing 11 people on the feed, and it's showing 11 likes. That's why I keep telling y'all, man, I can't make all this stuff up, man. I just broke down duality, which is, again, you have the whole concept of Jesus and Lucifer, and guess what happened? Boom. Let me see if I can show it to you right now. If you could see the 11:11 on here. You see? Right here. It's showing 11 people on, and 11 people, love, what, either 11 likes and 11 love, whatever the case is. 11:11. Jesus and Lucifer. Like I tell y'all, man, I don't be making these things up. I cannot make this up. I can't. That's when you know you're on path, man. You're doing it. You're doing it. All right. I'm gonna talk to y'all later. One.